Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Coming up in this episode of the Crusty podcast, what the F? What the fudge? New Army logo? Yes, controversy. Brought to us, taxpayers, by the Canadian military and their new idea of a funky, cool, new woke logo, and the outcry and the backlash. All that more coming to the podcast. Please stick around. Listener view discretion is advised because I do swear, make funny faces, and I might smoke the odd cigarette or two. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 276, the Crusty Canuck podcast. And don't forget, this episode is brought to you in part by and supported by the Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, Veterans for Freedom Stand 2. And coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV Stand 2. Yours truly will have a show in there. I'm Crusty Canuck. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this beautiful Friday. Hope you're all getting ready for the weekend. I know I've done my work this week. I'm exhausted, but bills will get paid and everything will be good to go. If you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this podcast all over your social media platforms too. Help us Canucks, especially as Canuck veterans, get our words out there in a timely manner. So as the title card said, ladies and gentlemen, what the F, right? Well, what the F? Or better yet, what the fuck? New Army logo. Now, I've read a few articles in regards to that since I saw it this morning, advertised one of my news feeds when I work. I listen to podcasts, listen to news broadcasts, what have you. And there's a whole ad and everything that goes with it too. And don't fret to my veterans, my serving members, and my fellows out there. Apparently, that's not the logo. Now, I'll get to that shortly. There's a couple of pages I found on Facebook, brought to you by the Canadian Army. Their Facebook page more or less stated it's not the new logo. But when you look around and see why they put this together, because there's a new military pattern coming out of the Canadian uniform, too. It's a multi-cam thing, similar to the old CAD Pats, not as green, mind you, but needless to say, it's a new uniform that's going to be in the works, and it should be on the soldiers' backs roughly about 2045. Just kidding. You know how Canadian procurement works in this country, especially my fellow veterans out there who know how the procurement process works. But I'll read a little story here for you shortly. But when you look at this logo, okay, honestly, when you look at something like that, now take a look at that digital centerpiece with the maple leaf in Canada. What does that look like to you? To me, it looks like a moose taking a dump or somebody holding up livestock. Now, regardless of what you think about it, I think the powers that be have done more than enough to screw with our military over the past 10 years, let alone the past 30 years, okay? There's some people I still talk to that were serving during the decade of darkness when funding was gone to hell, and yet peacekeeping mission after peacekeeping mission, do more with less, do more with less, do more with less. Human rights were an issue. There were some sexual assault issues. There were some other issues, all stemming from money being spent here when it should have been spent there, yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to arrange an interview with somebody who knows who's all too familiar with that kind of procedure. Anyhow, I'm digressing here. But like I said, what the F? New Army logo. So like I said, there's a story there from the Canadian Army page on the Facebook that explains every little detail of what they're doing. I'll get to that shortly. But it surprised a lot of people because considering all the wokeisms that are going on out there right now, considering all the BS that's gone into our military with politics and lack of spending, lack of procurement, because there's so many damn boards and so many damn bureaucrats that are calling the shots when it comes to getting a simple thing like a truck tire or a new helicopter up in the air. There's all these different boards and steps that our government takes to get something out and get something modernized for our military. Okay. Our Navy's hurting, our Air Force is hurting, and our Army is hurting too. And regardless of how you personally think about the grooming issue, like the mullets, long hair, different colored hair, yes, I know a grown-ass man can pull a trigger and still have long hair and do his job. Okay. But when I look at the military, when I look at dress and deportment, there's a certain degree of professionalism that goes into grooming, like keeping your hair short, your shoulders up, back and down, chin up, chest out, that kind of thing, being proud to serve your country. And if you're going to join the military and you somehow cannot function or be proactive with a short haircut, then there's something wrong. Maybe the military is not for you. Okay. And the way the military has been treating people, I would say the past 10 years, it's pretty shitty because you're finding a lot of senior brass out there, a lot of so-called educated officials making these brash decisions in regards of wokeness and progressivism. And the thing is, when you have a military, you want them to be a fighting force. You want them to be ready to go at a moment's notice and have the ability to do it too, without worrying about squabbling about these little social justice warrior tidbits. And I admit, when I first saw that logo, I'm like, what the hell are they thinking of next? What else are they going to screw with next? Right? How many more times do our troops have to get it up the chuff? How many times do veterans have to get it up the chuff too? Right? Why don't we have leaders in this country that really give a shit about what's going on? And you've heard me ramble on numerous times that a lot of them don't. A lot of them looking after their pensions. A lot of them looking after their own self-worth. A lot of them looking after their images and their egos. Because there's still quite a few leaders out there that really, really get their jaw lays off the sound of their own voice. And can we afford that, ladies and gentlemen? Not anymore. So I think it's time for a change.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 276 of the Crusty Canuck podcast for this beautiful Friday, May 3rd, 2024. As the title card says, what the F? New Army logo. Now, I'm your host, Crusty. Thanks for coming back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'll just cue up a little story here that Canadian Army page put together for its subscribers, just to make sure everything is copacetic, everything is good to go. And I will just read it for you. I like this logo a lot better. I'll just cue up the page. But I think you'll see my point once I finish reading this and share my 2 cents worth, regardless of the subject matter or not. Right? So, I'll just get this here. Excuse me. Like I said, it's been a long day, so I'm just kind of breathing a little too heavy here, too. I'll leave this link in my description for you, ladies and gentlemen. You can read at your leisure. Right? So, but Canadian Army has not changed its official logo. We remain proud of our official emblem. The icon launched today is a supplementary design only that will be used in the bottom left corner of certain communications products and in animations for videos. Okay. So, what's funny is that this article here, this statement is about 3 hours old. And the logo I showed you came out this morning. So they've had all day to scuttle around and scurry around thinking, oh my God, we got to get some PR in here. We got to fix this. The thing being, why don't you just use a QR code if you want something at the bottom of your videos, or just shrink that logo that's right there. There's nothing more patriotic and prestigious about that simple logo right there. The 3 leaves, cross, sword, and the crown. Now, regardless how you feel about the monarchy or not, that's still screaming Canada as far as I'm concerned. That piece of garbage that I showed you earlier on the title card, what exactly is that? Modern art? Did the artist sit there and decide, I want to create some kind of tapestry to make the moose and the people come together so we can understand Canada as a very, very multicultural place, right? And that way it'll intimidate any enemy that ever wants to screw with us in the name of artistic and digital hi-fi, Anyway, I shake my head at that logo. But regardless of what people think of it, according to the Canadian Army, it's not going to be used, which is good. That's a good thing. So we'll just leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just not going to dwell in it as I thought I was going to today, but it makes you think. It makes you think a lot. Who's in charge still, right? Somebody come up with the idea in some office in Ottawa. Said, let's change this around. Let's change that around. Let's try to get this. Let's try to reinvent the wheel again. And how many times have we seen that in our military history? Let's reinvent the wheel. Let's just buy old kit for new kit, like Harjit Sajjan did back a few years back, where we got the old F-18s to replace our old F-18s in the name of parts, right, to modernize. And he was also bragging about what he did in Afghanistan too, which ended up being total BS, right? But I think you see what I mean here, where this is going. Okay, it's not going anywhere positive. It's not going anywhere definitive. It's just in limbo. So somebody in Ottawa is trying to save face for putting this logo up. Now, I'm happy there's new uniforms coming to our troops. I would be happier if there was new equipment and new training formats and a little more drill and discipline, per se. Okay. Like I said earlier, I don't care if you got long hair. You can still pull the trigger. That's fine. That's the excuse I get for some of these wokey individuals or these new fantangle socialist veterans who believe in kumbaya rather than taking a proper stand, right? In the name of wokeness and inclusion and diversity, right? The military is something you should be proud of. But when you show up to work with your hair all long and ratted and you look like somebody from an MTV video, how can you take any of that seriously? Honestly. And, I do believe each to their own. Okay. But when you sign up for a few years to national service, when you sign the dotted line and say, yes, I'll serve my country, you wear the uniform of the day. And that means clean shaven. That means trimmed and groomed properly. And that means showing up to work and giving a fuck.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 276. What the fuck? The new Army logo. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. If you like to hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content all over your social media platforms and do what you can to spread the word, ladies and gentlemen. Spread this Canadian content all over Canada, all over where you are too. Special thank you out there to some of my new listeners out of California, Massachusetts, and upper New York State. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome, right? Thank you to my American friends. I especially want to thank a couple more Brits. Some Israelis apparently have been watching my show according to my Podbean feed. So thank you very much. And thank you all to who I have not mentioned. Everybody else who is watching and listening to the rest of the podcast, thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Without your support, this podcast would not be where it's at. And I want to say thank you to all the people that commented on my last video too. I'm getting more comments, which is good. So if you see this on the Tube or on the Rumble or anywhere else, please give me a like, give me a comment, and keep the conversation going. And we can get this podcast bigger than it should be, ladies and gentlemen. If you feel like donating, please consider donating too. Links are in my description where you can donate at your leisure. So thank you once again to all those who have donated, especially you, Sean. Thank you once again for that donation the other day. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Anyway, carrying on with this story too. I'm not going to dwell on the whole logo thing. I'm just so tired of it, really, because it was just, oh my God, it's dry in here. It's just so flabbergasting. Just all these great geniuses who get together in these cubicles and try to decide things to make us feel special and better and inclusive. What a shit show. But in recent news too, in regards to Chinese interference too, there has been quite a bit of stir in regards to it. And I'll just read a CTV article here, ladies and gentlemen. I'll add it here too. Basically, they did find interference, but they're not going to really worry about it. You know what I mean? Because, there's nothing to worry about. Typical, nothing to see here, folks, all that good stuff. Nothing to see here. Just, what ifs, but there's a questions here from CTV in regards to 5 areas Canada's Foreign Interference Commissioner says needs more investigation. So, they figure that 2 ridings may have been impacted by the 2021 election, too. So I'll read a few paragraphs here. Commissioner Marie-Josie Hogue released her interim report examining foreign election interference on Friday, concluding that while Chinese meddling did occur in a few ridings. Now, it did occur, so you can say there was interference, okay? It did not affect the overall outcome of Canada's 2019 and 2021 general elections. But there was interference. So, okay. So if it didn't interfere, then why are we talking about it? In wrapping up the first phase of her work, which focused on determining whether China, Russia, and other foreign actors interfered in the last two federal votes, the flow of official information, and how the government responded to what it knew, Hogue noted a handful of areas that require more examination before she can make conclusions or recommendations. Here are the 5 elements of foreign election interference that Hogue said she needs to further probe during the second phase of the public inquiry before be able to pronounce on them. Okay, so nothing to see here, folks. No, vulnerability of nomination races, right? Question of threshold to alert Canadians, right? How to counter disinformation. Those words are so trendy. Disinformation, misinformation. Basically, how to counter bullshit. Okay, how about you just say it that way? How intelligence is communicated and shared. Now, we've all heard about the big stink that CSIS made with the federal government not seeing this, CSIS not saying that, or showing this. The prime minister not seeing anything that comes across his desk, which is bullshit, unless it has to do with taxes or photos ops, but that's a different story. And attributing to interference to a state. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this article in the description for you, ladies and gentlemen. They're more or less saying there is interference, but there's nothing really to worry about. But there's still interference, but nothing really to worry about. So basically, it's just a shit show. Really, that's all it is. It's just a shit show. They can't make an honest answer. They can't stand by what they're saying. And CSIS has said before there is people getting involved in this. The prime minister just ignored it, right? So in the case of Han Dong, where 21 international students were bused to his election district to vote, international students, though, mind you, not Canadian citizens, just students, not permanent residents, not citizens, students. Okay. There's controversy in that, too. So it makes you think, ladies and gentlemen, who is doing what here? Now, we've all heard the prime minister talk about how much he loves China's basic dictatorship, right? We all heard that before. Well, he just loves how they can turn their economy around on a dime. They get their green energy. Yeah, what green energy? Stephen Guilbeault likes to give them coal, right? Likes to give India coal, too. And there's also allegations. There's also some allegations in regards to India might be meddling too because of the Khalistani person that was killed last summer. Now, they've arrested 3 individuals in that case. That's ongoing. The RCMP doesn't want to give away too much information because they want to jeopardize their evidence, apparently. No, I don't get it. No. Anyhow, the past week has been really interesting, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Canadian politics, Canadian diplomacy, how we sit in the international stage. Okay. Now, when I was a soldier, I'm not going to put on my helmet and tell you great war stories and everything, but we had professional decorum, right? When you wore the uniform, you were ambassadors of Canada. Didn't matter where you were, you were ambassadors. And you took pride in what you did. And we looked up to our leadership. It didn't matter if I was a recruit or a private. You look up to your master jacks and you look up to your sergeants. And your master jacks and sergeants should look up to the warrant officers and sergeant majors accordingly. But then when you're being an NCO and you're looking up to the next rank or the next appointment, the senior NCO should be able to look up to senior officers to make the right decisions as well. And I would say the past few years, senior officers have done nothing but sit in the fence and promote the wokey, the wokey shuffle, the woke shuffle, for lack of a better term, just to save face and save their careers. And we're seeing everyone else in the same position save face and save careers. Jagmeet Singh is basically going to okay the budget. Okay. There's a socialist right there who wears Rolexes and gets custom-made suits. There's a guy who sidesteps every chance he gets just to save face and collect his golden pension after 6 years of being the NDP leader. And you're seeing a lot of people trying to save their job, save face. They did the same thing during the pandemic. They did the same thing during every other catastrophe this country's ever seen. And you and I and everybody else deserves better, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it was kind of corrected here on tonight's show in regards to this new logo. But there was obviously some sidestepping there and some second guessing. Oh, I guess we better not put this out here. Maybe we shouldn't promote this, right? This is coming from the same military that's really, really hurting for recruits right now. And yet look how they're dealing with it. Has anybody out there seen a brand new commercial to join the today's Canadian Forces? No? Anybody? None. And I remember the last batch of commercials that were on television that were brought to us by Harper's Conservatives were really in your face and really motivational. And they displayed teamwork and they esteemed prestige. Fight with the Canadian Forces. Fight tyranny. Fight fear. Fight with the Canadian Forces. And I remember both opposition parties, NDP and Liberals alike. Oh my God, that's too aggressive. Oh my God, that's just too, you're just promoting violence. What do you think a military is? What do you think a police service can be? Now, you don't associate violence with firefighters, but they have a violent job too. They have to get in there, be aggressive, put their life in danger to put out a flame. And that flame can be very, very unpredictable, depending on what it's burning, what it's feeding off of. Is it chemical? Is it from fuel? Is it burning? Is it wood? And who knows what can happen? So you got to be aggressive to get the job done. Cops have to take out the bad guy to get the job done. Soldiers sometimes have to get the bad guys to get the job done. And the least your leadership can do, the least any leadership can do, is to step aside and let the military do its thing. We've had too much micromanagement over the past few years in every aspect of our lives. We've had too much oversight, too much overreach, and just too much bullshit. Like, you've heard me ramble on about the leadership in this country, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I expect you, my wonderful audience, to do the same too when it comes to your leadership. My American friends, talk to your state. Talk to everybody you can. Put them on the spot. Same thing here. My friends at Northern Perspective, Radioreaction, same thing. They tell us all the same thing. Get some letters out there. Put these politicians, these leaders, bureaucrats, admins alike on the spot. To my fellow veterans and serving members, don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. And don't budge till you get the answers that you deserve. And let's hope to God it's the truth. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 3rd of May, 2024. I will be back this Sunday as per. Once again, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms. Spread the word, comment, give me a thumbs up wherever you see this, right? And don't hesitate to ask me any questions if you want to know. You can contact me. Contact information is in the description. If you feel like donating, please consider donating if you can too. Every little bit helps. Things are getting tighter in our lives. I don't expect you to give me all this and give me all that. But if you feel like donating on a regular basis, please do. Once I do accumulate enough funds, I will give to charity. The charity I have in mind is the Veterans Association Food Bank in Edmonton. They do wonderful things for veterans. They help them out with jobs, placements, and provide nourishing food once it's needed. And these trying times, yeah, a lot of people do need it. But do what you can, ladies and gentlemen. But like I say, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 3rd of May, 2024. I wish good things for you all. I hope we try to find the light in this manufactured darkness. Like I say, I will see you on Sunday. I'll be back another episode too. And do what you can. Help each other out. Look after your friends, loved ones. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you Sunday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Well, smack my ass and call me Judy.